Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of Imagination Megapark. Now, 7 of the areas have been completed, so now it's time to finish the last themed area of the park, which is of course Sprocket City. Now, before you ask, this will not be the last episode, because after this I still want to make some improvements to the entrance area and to this area with the castle in the middle. So we're close to finished, but not completely yet. Now, some of the things that I want to do in this episode is just finish up this general area here. I want to make some changes to some of the rides, and we can probably fit another one ride in. Now, before I do any building, let's first go name several more handymen after people who commented on the last Imagination Megapark episode. Right here you can see the 6 handymen which have been named after commenters. So yeah, thank you so much for leaving a comment on this video. Now if you also want to find yourself in the park as a handyman or a mechanic, just leave a fun or interesting comment on this video. And it will be one of the last opportunities you have to become a handyman or mechanic in the park. So don't be shy. Alright, what I'm going to start with now is to extend this mine train coaster a little bit outwards. It's going to be really hard for me to fit any more rides out here so far away from the paths. So I think a really easy way to fill up this area here is by just extending this mine train coaster to this area. Alright, the mine train track now has been extended a little bit. You can see it over here. Now I still need to decorate this, of course, but that will be a job for future me. I think this makes the layout a little bit nicer, a little bit longer of course, which I think is here a good thing. Now a next ride that I would like to have in this area is, what I think could be fun is some sort of mine tour. So I guess would enter the mine over here. And basically it will be a mini golf ride without holes, which means the guests will just be walking around. So at several points in this area I will make the walkway pop up above ground with using more of these tunnels. And with that we'll see guests walking around at several spots here in the mines. And it will actually look like they're walking all underground on a tour through the mines. So I think this could be a fun scenic ride. Anyway, enough talking. Let's go build this mine tour. Alright, we now have a mine tours ride. So the guests enter the queue over here. And you can see the station over here. And basically it's just a mini golf ride. It's a long path and you can see it pop out over here right next to the coaster and some of these other attractions. Now I added a lot of decorations off camera. You can see some of these TNT stacks here. And some smoke, which is probably the last thing you want to see when you're next to a TNT stack. Guests go underground here again, and over here you will see them pop out. I put lots of these little coal carts right next to the track. There are some of the vehicles of the miniature railway. And over here the gas once again pop out, and here they go underground again, and then they go through a long tunnel, after which they pop out of the ground again over here, and here they go underground again, back into the station. Over here is also a little tunnel for the exit. Now I placed lots of decorations next to the tunnels for this ride. Here you can see a little rail yard. Put some more of these coal carts, some barrels, some more buildings over here. Also extended some railways here. I made a little door for a train to go to, and this train track just disappears behind this ride. Now the next thing that I want to do is add some decorations in this area over here, in this big turnaround. Yeah, I think that would look cool to have kind of well, sort of a factory here in the middle. And I think we can go pretty tall, since we want to really block the view of anything here. And from this angle, yeah, we wouldn't block anything anyway. So I think it would make sense to make a pretty tall factory here. So yeah, let's go start building it. Alright, I've created a factory here in the corner of the map. Yeah, it's just several big buildings, also with a little bit of castle theme, and some more of these roofs with these chimneys. I also put some fire here to make it look like a big furnace. And of course the main eye catcher here is this conveyor belt, which yeah, drops the ore into this crusher here. Now I also recolored some of these vehicles. I reversed some of them just to add a little bit of randomness. I think this looks really cool here in the corner. Now with this factory built here, I think I've got the main big things added that I wanted to add. So now I will just focus some time on adding decorations all throughout this area. Now I will be moving erratically all throughout this area while doing that, so that's why I will do this off camera.
One eternity later.
Okay, I went through the entire Sprocket City area and added many different details, some more subtle than others. Now for example, I added some extra supports here and there to Juggernaut, which you can see over here for example. Now I also added some parked vehicles. You can see some soapboxes parked around this ride. Now a more subtle change is that here and there I added some of this new wildflowers terrain, and it really helps for these grape fields. I think it just makes it look a little bit more lush. Now most of the work was actually done in the mine area. Added lots of dry foliage, some dead trees, barrels, some more TNT stacks like in these supports here for example. Yeah, when you go through this area you'll just find lots of little details, also some more of these ore piles. Yeah, I could go on and on and on. There's just lots of little details added, lots of stuff. Now I think with that the most of the Sprocket City area is now completed, which allows me to now focus on the map edge. Now the map edge won't be as elaborate as most other areas. I plan to keep it pretty simple here. It will mostly be yeah, just landscaping, and I'll try to make it look like it's supported with poles and some of these elements, and some of these as well. Alright, the map edge for Sprocket City is now completed. Now I just went for these Rollercoaster Tycoon wall styles. You have the castle wall style and this white wall. And I think together they make a nice combination. And I just went with lots of these poles and other structural elements to try and make it look like it's all held together by it. Yeah, and I think it all looks pretty nice. And over here for foliage, I just used some of these Japanese snowball trees, partly buried, some dead trees, and some other small details. Altogether, I'm really happy with how the map edge for this area has turned out. Now, with that done, that means we now have a full completed map edge for Imagination Megapark. So I'm really happy with that. Now, there's still 1 or 2 more episodes to go. There's some things that could use a little bit more detailing. But I'm really happy with the progress. And the finish line is definitely in sight. Okay, I think it will be fun to do a tour through Sprocket City. But before we do that, one of my patrons, Plague Doctor, upgraded from the Handyman tier to the Mechanic tier. So I will give his entertainer the name color that he asked me to give it. Alright, Plague Doctor, thank you so much for upgrading to the Mechanic tier, and I hope you like your new name color. Now, a big thanks to all my Patreon supporters. They've all been given a spot in the park as an entertainer. If you still want to make it into the park as an entertainer, we only have a few more episodes to go. Okay, let's take a quick tour through Sprocket City. So here's one of the entrances of the area. It kind of looks like a face. And well, yeah, over here is the first ride. It's this bob cart ride. So over here, this huge building is the station for the ride. There's also actually a queue where you can actually see the vehicles pass underneath. Now, this is pretty densely built here, so the effect is kind of lost. But I think it's still a cool effect when you look closely. And here you can see these vehicles pass through all these helixes here. Now over here we have a ride which I called Nosedive. So guests are actually lifted up here in one of these flying vehicles, and then they get dropped down, and then over here they pop out of the ground again up this spike. And then they drop down with their head. Yeah, well, they drop down head first, so that's why it's called Nosedive. A little simple shoestring. Over here we have this big top spin, which is suspended between these two large towers. Lots of crazy buildings here on top. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this ride turned out. Let's see if we can see it in action. We may not actually be able to. There it goes. So yeah, just a very simple shoestring. It doesn't go back and forth. It really just goes in one direction. Now over here, several more buildings. This area is very densely built up when you rotate the view. Here's a simple shoestring again with these swinging vehicles. I believe it's called Discombobulator. I can barely pronounce it myself. Over here we have this dueling soapbox ride. So all these vehicles travel in between all these buildings and through some of these buildings while they duel with another vehicle on the other track. Over here we have this spiral coaster. I love the way this lift hill looks with this spiral pusher in the middle. I think that looks pretty nice. I try to time it a bit so that it moves at approximately the same speed as the vehicles that travel upwards. Now, and when they're lifted up, they will travel through several hills. And here in the middle of this plaza, you can see 2 of these helixes here. I think this is a nice eye catcher for the area. Now, over here we have the station for the air balloon ride, which is also the repair station for the ride. You can see lots of these vehicles here and these air balloons parked down. You see a little elevator with a little staff scene. Also some cranes on top. And here's actually the station for the ride. You can see one of these vehicles arrive here. Now over here we have another coaster. Yeah, this one's called Revolver. And these vehicles, they pass through several of these reversing sections. Now the vehicles don't actually reverse, it just looks like they do. After the reverser they revert back to the original orientation. But it actually looks like they rotate 180 degrees. So I think the effect is still pretty funny. Now here we have this giant tilted Ferris wheel. It was inspired by one that Skiva once made in the Ferris wheel contest. But I gave it my own spin, own support structure. And I made it an actual shoestring. But yeah, I think it looks really cool here. Now over here we have this parachute ride. You can see one of the vehicles traveling up now. So all these vehicles are actually separate trains. So they get lifted up and then they get released and they drop down. And then they gently go back to the bottom. Later on, the park will have 4,000 more guests. So then we'll probably see some more guests on most of these rides. Here's a simple dueling inverted swinging ship. Here's a little jousting nights carousel. Right, then over here we entered the mine area. Over here I made this whip ride. So lots of vehicles just going along an oval track. Over here we have this mine train coaster. So it travels up the lift hill here, then it goes down, goes around the along the edge of the map, around the supports of the hypercoaster. And then finally it falls down here vertically. And finally it also has a vertical lift here that leads the vehicles upwards again. It looks kind of silly with these vehicles separated, traveling up like that. But I think it's a funny effect. Now in this mine area we also have this little suspended twist ride here. And funny thing is that when the guests exit, they actually just drop down from the middle. Now over here's two other little shoestring rides. This one just travels back and forth with these two vehicles on both sides. I think it looks pretty cool. I'm really happy with how the support structure turned out. And here's a little mine drop ride, where the vehicle first travels up a little bit and then gets dropped down into this mine shaft here. And it goes pretty deep. Now and over here is the mine tours ride. I think it's the ride with the longest queue. But yeah, I guess basically enter a mini golf ride that goes underground. But yeah, and there's not actually any mini golf holes. I guess they're just taking a walking tour. So at some point, like over here, you can see guests just pop up above ground for a little while. And then they go into a tunnel again. And finally, here's the biggest ride of the area. This is a Juggernaut. Yeah, it's a big hyper coaster. There's a huge lift hill over here. It was pretty fun making this structure. Also pretty tedious. Goes up this lift hill and gets dropped down several huge hills over here. Here's a big turnaround where I added some extra supports today. And then it twists through its own layout. Here's a little mid-course brake run. After that the coaster dives into this tunnel here. And then here it pops out again. And then finally here is some more bunny hills before the coaster does a little turnaround here and then returns back to the station. Yeah, I'm really happy with how Sprocket City turned out, especially this mine area that was added later. I think it looks really nice and it's a great addition to the rest of Sprocket City. But I think it's definitely one of the areas with the most interesting and creative rides. Alright, yeah, I will end this video with a little cinematic overview with some nice shots of all these rides. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching me build. If you liked this video, please consider giving this video a like. It would really help out my channel. And if you want to see more of these videos, you can always subscribe. And I would love to hear in the comments which one of these rides is your favorite. Alright, that's going to be it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you again in the next one. See you later.